We're in Thailand with Global Blockchain Show, and today I'm with Martin from Zircuit. Martin, welcome.
Hi, Mia. Thank you very much. Mia, we actually brought you a little gift.
Oh!
This is our mascot. We like cats at Zircuit, so this is for you.
It's a beautiful design you guys have.
Hope you like plushies.
I unfortunately, it's my weakness. It's
Perfect.
gonna make a little bit of noise. We get him out of the. Maybe he can sit here with us. So, oh, this is the cutest thing ever. Okay, let's keep the Zircuit cat here with us. Looks good. Okay, tell me about this company.
So Zircuit is a layer 2. We are a zero-knowledge rollup, and so our primary purpose is to scale Ethereum, provide users with cheaper transactions and faster transaction confirmations, more block space, and so on. But what we do differently from other chains is that we also focus on security, and we want to protect the protocols and end users on Zircuit from hacks. And the way how we do it is that when we receive a transaction, before appending this transaction to the next available block, we actually scan it. We double check what this transaction is doing, whether it's somehow damaging to the users or protocols on Zircuit. And if it is damaging, meaning it's exploiting something, it's some kind of a hack, we do not put it in the chain, but we put it in quarantine for further investigation, because what it means is that there is a potentially vulnerable protocol on Zircuit, and people would use money. What we use to detect whether these transactions are malicious are some AI models. So essentially, we receive the transaction, we simulate it, we obtain a trace, and we feed everything into some artificial intelligence, and it tells us this is fine or this is not fine. So this is what we do at Zircuit.
Is this a problem that you experienced before? Like, how did you arrive to this idea?
I mean, so prior to Zircuit, I was actually working as a smart contract auditor. So I have a lot of background, in Web3 security, and personally, I did not experience a hack before, but I know many, many people who have lost money in DeFi and, who have lost a lot of trust in the Web3 because of such incidents, right?
You've seen it close.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, we are fully aware that this reflects poorly on the entire industry, and we would like to improve the situation a little bit and, offer an environment that is safer for everybody, and this way help everybody around. So
when did you guys launch?
We launched our mainnet in summer of 2024. There were actually 2 launch dates. The kind of internal launch date for our partners, that was in July. And then in August 2024, we opened access to the mainnet to the entire public. So mainnet is roughly 3 months old. Prior to mainnet, we were operating on a testnet. The testnet launched pretty much 1 year and 1 day ago. It was November 13, 2023 in Istanbul at DevConnect last year. And, we've been developing for roughly 2 years.
That's amazing. How's been the reception?
So we like working with our community a lot at Zircuit. So we, sometimes in March opened staking programs for the users to deposit various LRTs and LSDs into a staking smart contract on L1. And those are funds that are sort of predetermined to be bridged onto mainnet of Zircuit. And judging from, the activity around staking, the reception of Zircuit has been like absolutely stellar. It took us probably 3 weeks to collect our first billion of liquidity, $1 billion of liquidity. And then over the time, we collected probably 3, I think. It depends, what the price of Ether at the point is. But sort of, judging from that, the community reception has been great. We have very many active followers on Twitter. Our Discord is booming. So we are very happy, and we hope that, the community will stay with us for the long term.
Of course. Tell me about your co-founders. How did the team come together?
So I said that I have a background in smart contract security. The truth is that all of us actually have background in smart contract security. So, we were working in this space for, I would say now, past 5 years, maybe 6 years, and we, all saw the problems, right? And we were all discussing how could it be done that the space becomes safer for the users? Is it possible to put some kind of a firewall in the front of the blockchain, or, some kind of a proxy that would be performing such scans for transactions, keeping everybody safer? And this discussion has been, not only among us, but in the entire space for sort of ages. And so when the era of rollups sort of started, so, we're looking back those like 2, maybe 3 years ago, we actually realized that L2s are in a very unique position to actually implement something like this. A solution, that I described, the scanning of transactions, it's very hard to achieve in a completely decentralized ecosystem, right? Because in the decentralized ecosystem, you are broadcasting your transactions into to various nodes. And if you are a malicious actor, you just need to find another, actor who shares your vision and who is willing to mine your transaction and include it in the chain, right? So this is how it works on typical L1s. L2s are in a completely different positions because they usually, do control the sequencer, at least to some extent, even the ones that are saying that, it's fully decentralized and so on. There is some level of control, and these things are much easier to implement. So at some point, we had to start looking into rollups because, we were smart contract auditors, we were Web3 researchers. And as we started looking into rollups, we realized that this is the unique opportunity, and that's how we started building Zircuit.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a year of making fun of how many L2s are being launched, and I'm sure you got caught up on that. How did you address that when people just...
Right. So my philosophy is that this is an open world. And if I want to launch an L2, I can. And everybody can launch an L2, right? So if we didn't launch one, somebody else would launch 15 more. So it almost, doesn't matter that you're adding another L2 into the spectrum. What we believe matters is that the L2s, they somehow differentiate from each other, right?
Of course.
An L2 that is just another fork of a normal, fully EVM equivalent optimistic rollup is probably not so innovative anymore. So we follow the vision that L2s are here to innovate, that L2s are here to bring new features, and we are actually actively doing that, right? You will have a hard time finding another L2 that, is actively contributing to the security space the way we are.
What's the current state of security, and how has it evolved, since we started? Because obviously, it's been a wild ride.
Yeah. So security is definitely much more mature than what it used to be. I would say that, if you look back into 2017, 2018, where sort of the first wave of mass adoption of Ethereum arrived, we had very primitive developer tooling. We have a very uneducated community. It was not the typical, let's say, part of the project development to actually go through a security audit. That was all part of, an education of the community and education of the end users. And it was that sentiment that this should be part of it because the users do not want to suffer at the end, that in the end pushed the projects to adopt this as sort of like this is the part of the process, right? You get your code audited. And so over the time, the space has evolved. We, let's say, onboarded tons and tons more security researchers. Again, looking back into 2018, there were not so many. Now there are probably hundreds of smart contract auditing companies. The space is much broader. Yeah. And that brings a lot of benefits and a lot of opportunities for collaborations, right? They have smart ideas. They have smart ideas. They have smart ideas. Why do we, not work together? So I think that this collaboration, this actually really helped advance the field. Where we currently are is that we live in a world where there are still many, many smart contract threats and risks, but the very typical and, let's say, old vulnerabilities, they still happen, but they are not so prevalent. So you will no longer be tackling integer overflows or underflows or very rudimentary reentrancies and some very, very simple market manipulations that no longer happens. And if you deploy a project that has such a vulnerability and unfortunately you do get hacked, you will be dragged through mud on Twitter. And rightfully so, because this is already known, right? So right now we are actually seeing more sophisticated hacking techniques. We are actually seeing a very organized approach to executing Web3 attacks. And I think that what is right now kind of going up in volume are various phishing attempts. So go on Twitter. If anybody is trying to communicate with their community, you will find tons and tons of impersonators that are, sort of trying to attract the Twitter users to their malicious websites, to get them, to click on their malicious link, to sign malicious transactions, and so on. What we are currently also seeing is increase of malicious injections into dependencies that the projects import. So you will find malicious NPM packages and so on and so on. So I think that the let's say threats are very much expanding currently in that off-chain space that still very heavily interacts with the on-chain space, and I think that going into the future we are actually going to see more and more of this with the mass adoption of crypto and the amount of money that have actually entered the space. The stakes also go higher, right? If looking back into the days, the largest TVL you were able to find was in the order of millions of dollars, while now we are definitely talking about billions. And with everybody sort of hoping and dreaming about a future where a lot of global capital operates on blockchain, the stakes are going to go even higher. So this is sort of where we stand at the moment. It's a challenge.
You think it's going to be even worse? I mean, I've definitely been caught up. I don't think you can be in this space and not be caught up on something silly at some point. Even if it's something that you would have, if you paid attention, you would have seen it. But if you're doing something really quick, I got caught up on something on Frentech. I was going to the airport, was trying to do something quick on my phone, clicked on the wrong link, and lost a significant amount. My wallet got completely wiped. And there's other stuff. I mean, even here with the events, someone copied the events and put them on Eventbrite just to collect emails. No email was sent out, but there's already inside that they're sending emails to whoever, so they could put the title anything.
Yes.
I'm on that. Because I get someone to sign me up for events and did that link. So I am a little bit concerned.
It is absolutely concerning. I mean, we use a whole bunch of tooling and the attack honestly can come from anywhere, right? Because it takes as little as clicking some link that brings you to a malicious website that, steals your cookies, session, whatever, and suddenly, the attackers have access to your browser or whatever you are currently using, right? And you are absolutely correct. We live in the world where there are tons of events, there are calendar invites, there are Zoom meetings, there are Luma links, there are Eventbrite links. All of that can actually be used to actually, attack people. Now, every once in a while, you also receive this email, which, informs you about the exciting news in the protocol that you are actually interested in and that you have actually interacted with, right? And with the rise of AI, these attacks and these impersonations, they actually become more and more sophisticated. And so it is becoming harder and harder to actually distinguish between what is real and what is trying to get you.
How are we gonna solve this problem? It sounds like it's something that, how do you see this being a...
Yeah, I think that most of the realistic solutions of this problem, just looking into the future, they unfortunately will now rely on technology. We are in the world where human senses, they no longer can very easily distinguish between something that is fake and fabricated and is trying to get you, and between the reality. Again, I'm mentioning the AI tools in here that are helping with that a lot. But, the same way you might have seen some applications that will allow you to paste text and say, was this ChatGPT or did a human write this, right? What's the likelihood that this was actually produced by artificial intelligence? So these things are also possible to kind of guess whether this was an AI or not. And machines are now much better at that than humans. So I think that the only solution of these security threats, unfortunately, comes through technology. We are at the state where our senses are not sufficient. And so we have to tackle that. Now, the question is how, right? And that's the hard question, and only time is going to show.
Yeah. It sounds like Zircuit is the ideal place for many projects. One that comes to mind would be like an exchange. What else would make sense here?
So Zircuit is a general purpose blockchain. So you can deploy anything. Zircuit is actually EVM equivalent. So I will say anything that you would want to deploy on another EVM chain, you can. So we are here for NFTs, we are here for meme coins, we are here for gaming applications, but yes, we are building a lot of security solutions into the sequencer directly. So obviously, one of our target groups is DeFi. So anything DeFi will be very, very welcome and will actually benefit a lot from the presence on Zircuit. So DEXs, lending solutions, stable coins, perp trading platforms, whatever you can come up with, that's where Zircuit really, really strives.
What's your long-term vision for Zircuit?
The long-term vision for Zircuit is that we would like to have as many projects, as many builders as possible. And we would like to have the end users of these projects to feel absolutely safe, to actually be able to forget a little bit about that security, to not be nervous when they are deploying a lot of capital into DeFi with the prospect of some yield, that they're actually going to use their principal capital. This is the vision that we are going for.
When you say end users, it's like there's a project that is on Zircuit, and because of that, it gives the reassurance to the user of the project.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So how do you begin to communicate that?
We are communicating through a whole bunch of channels. For example, I'm sitting here. We are giving talks. We do a lot of active research. We publish papers. We publish blog posts. We are just talking to anybody who is willing to listen, and we are telling them how great Zircuit is.
Yeah, but for the end user, imagine someone entering the space. This is ideal for them, right? Because it's super secure. So I'm assuming a project that is building for anyone at the entry level. So it's just being, it's just getting confident in crypto, let's say. Decides to go with Zircuit, builds a project, say in DeFi. And then the user gets the assurance by seeing on Zircuit or something. This is how I'm saying it. What is said to the user, because this person is not going to be tech savvy.
Yeah.
How are you communicating that message to the end user?
Right. So here is where we need a little bit of help from the projects themselves, right? We are sort of looking for the network effects in here. So the role of Zircuit is to protect the project. The project itself is developing their own community and attracting their own users. And we also, sort of ask that the project then evangelize the ideas and tell the users that they should be using this given project because it is already safer, because it is running on Zircuit. In the end, the tools that we are actually giving to everybody, because every single project that is deployed on Zircuit is by default protected by this, they are actually not so visible to that user in the end, right? We are striving for interaction that is exactly the same as it would happen on any other EVM chain. So, opening open your favorite wallet, sign your transaction, nothing really changes.
Yeah.
The only difference should be that if that transaction is actually a true hack, then that spinner in your MetaMask, it will just keep spinning because the transaction will just not go through.
No, go through. I do think that there's a reverse thing here that maybe you can explore. If the users at the entry level, mostly them, but I think all of them, really, everyone wants to be safe, secure. Even myself, honestly, if they know that if built on Zircuit, it has that layer of security that they can just relax, they will have preference, and that will move, the projects here. So for me, like knowing that, if I see like, it's like the restaurant with a Michelin star, or the food that has like FDA, I can see that working really well, actually. It's something that is definitely something like that is needed for the people are just joining the industry.
I like that idea a lot. And, when you actually look at the industry, at various activities, a lot of impulses that come, they actually do come from the communities, right? They ask, hey, dear project, we love what you're doing, but, could you please also do that? Or could you do this differently? Because we want it done differently. And we actually work in a very, very beautiful space where these projects, they do listen. So I think that you are absolutely correct. That is a very feasible and nice path. And connected to that, when it comes to communication, we actually have one more target group. And those are the evil people. Those are the hackers, right? Because imagine that you are a hacker and you have found a vulnerability in a protocol. The protocol is probably deployed on a whole bunch of chains. So are you going to come to Zircuit and try to hack it on Zircuit and chance that we are actually going to catch that transaction, that exploit, because we are, and tell the entire world of these other chains that that vulnerability exists on their chain, in their protocol as well, and they should really, really quickly fix it? Or are you going to go somewhere else and maybe claim a bounty, or, essentially not execute this hack on Zircuit, right? So we are essentially trying to tell everybody, including the evil people, that the low-hanging fruit on Zircuit might not be hanging so low.
Yeah, the hackers love to, do like a big hack to get on the news and everything. I actually read during the elections, they were trying to hack the U.S. elections because it's like a big thing for them. It's like they were comparing it with the Super Bowl for hacking, which I thought was incredibly interesting. Like, can imagine for them the challenge of hacking into something. For them, it's like, if there's a will, there's a way. But if it really becomes like bulletproof, they might be really invested in like, oh, I hacked something on Zircuit. Like, I could see that for them being also, like a...
I agree. One important thing to say is it will never be bulletproof. And it will never be bulletproof because every security expert who is trying to help is always just playing catch up with the hackers.
Yeah.
The hackers are always, one step ahead, right? So it's always about playing catch up, and that's why it will never be bulletproof. But it can be very close to bulletproof. And, when things become extremely difficult, again, the hackers and those evil people, they also have a choice to make. Do it or no. Report it and become the good person and keep your clean money versus the stolen money.
I guess if someone is like more sophisticated and really sees a way to hack it, like once you see it, it's very unlikely to happen again. Like, I guess you get more insight, the more sophisticated hackers that you attract. It's an interesting dynamic. I've talked with a few people on the security side, and I find this realm like incredibly interesting. I also find that like on the application level, like the way we go through security as a user there's so much room for improvement because
correct.
the user experience going through security, it's so painful sometimes. We understand that it's necessary given we're dealing with money everything we do on chain. But I do hope there's something, I don't know, like more quick, efficient, no need to think.
I think that the major problem is that people are inherently lazy, right? Everybody, or most of the people, maybe know that this is, not what you should do. But it's just more convenient at the given moment. You are in a rush, whatever, you're going to cut your corner, or you are just purely lazy and don't feel like doing that. You are going to use password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because you don't want to think about one. I hope that nobody actually does that.
There's a lot of people that do that.
Probably. We have to arrive to, the situation where essentially security is there and you don't even know about it as much as possible.
Well, that's the goal. Is there anything exciting coming up?
Anything exciting coming up? So Zircuit is currently in the process of migrating the staked assets from L1 onto Zircuit. So whoever deposited their LRTs and LSTs into the deposit contract on L1 right now has the opportunity to come and actually sign an approval transaction for us that we are able to take these assets and put them onto Zircuit. Now the question is, where are you going to put them onto Zircuit, right? So what we have created on Zircuit is something that we call the central liquidity hub, because I said Zircuit is here for DeFi. We want, as much DeFi as we can have, but without liquidity, there is no DeFi. There will not be any activity. There will not be anything to borrow. There will not be anything to trade, right? So we have created this central liquidity hub to help the projects deployed on Zircuit or who are entering Zircuit to actually source this liquidity. So I find that incredibly exciting. I would like to invite all the stakers and depositors of Zircuits to actually go to stake.zircuit.com to sign the approval for the migration and start actually participating in this ecosystem on Zircuit.
That's exciting. For everyone watching, where can they find you?
www.zircuit.com. Zircuit, that's like circuit, but with Z at the beginning. Otherwise, we also have official Twitter. Our official Twitter is ZircuitL2. And I personally tweet from Twitter, dr_Zircuit.
Martin, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.